Hey traders, welcome back to our channel. I am Kenya with BK Trading Academy, one of the educators, and we help new and struggling traders learn how to trade with structure and guidance so that you guys start the right way, you have a breakthrough, and you trade confidently. And in this video, we are going to go through multi-time frame analysis, and I'm going to show you your next opportunity with CHFJPY, and hopefully this can help you with knowing how to determine market direction and how to take a trade confidently. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So I am on the monthly time frame of CHFJPY. And one thing that we see is that price is currently in an uptrend. We can identify this with our naked eye, also within a trend line here, and you will see that price has been making higher highs and higher lows. Now, one thing that I like to always do is I like to look out to the monthly time frame. You don't have to do it all the time, but it's really good practice to go out to the higher time frame to get an overall feel for what the market is doing. And one thing that I will see is that price is quite high right now, in my opinion, and there's no price action here. So there's a really strong imbalance between buyers and sellers. I feel that the market is pretty overbought, and I do feel that it could potentially come down. Also, look left and notice that the last time price was in this zone at 151 was back in December of 79. That is crazy. So look how much the price has been going upward. And of course, we can always look at economic factors that could impact this. So what we're looking at right now is technicals. Based on what we see technically, what can we expect to happen? So one thing that we know is right now, let's say if we are an intraday trader or a short-term swing trader, we want to look at what is our opportunity right now. Here's our current monthly low. And if we clone this would be our current monthly high. So if we're only looking for, a 50 pip move or something like that, of course, we're not going to wait for price to come back down to this monthly level before we trade it. We're just trying to get an overall feeling for what the price action is doing right now. Now, if we move down to the weekly, we can see on the weekly that we are still quite bullish. So we're still in an uptrend, but notice how the price came to an area of resistance and it started to struggle to push higher. So we had a break of this high here. So this high right at 142.90, or we'll just say 143 zone. This previous resistance came in area of support, but notice how the price pushed past it. It then came and formed new resistance at 151, and then we started to see those highs get lower. So this was a signal that buyers were losing strength, and now sellers were coming in and pushing that price down. So notice how sellers came in, pushed that price down. We came back and retested an area of weekly support. Then we broke higher. We came back, retested the zone again, formed support, and now pushed up. And now we're testing near an area of resistance. So that's really helpful to know because we want to build a bias in our mind. So since this pair is quite bullish, we should be looking for opportunities to go long, but also too, we can look for opportunities to go short from very strong resistance. So for example, if we get a retest of this previous weekly high, notice that the price is retesting right here. So it's currently retesting our previous weekly high, and this is also an area of weekly lows. So I actually think right now we might have a good opportunity to short, okay? But we're going to continue to move down to the next time frame. So this is our weekly high so far. So I'm going to be mindful of that, and what I'm going to do is clone this area here, and I'm going to bring this down to the next reversal zone that I see. Now, one thing that I see is that price is currently at resistance, and it previously broke this zone here. So this was an area of resistance. It was also resistance, and this was also an area of support. So it looks like we broke to the upside on the lower time frame, but notice before that, the price has started to come down and we had a bearish engulfing candle, right? So when we see a bearish engulfing candle, this is usually a signal that we might continue to see price push lower. But notice what happened here. We had a rejective support here and the price pushed back up. So now we are testing near resistance again. And actually, I think this was a result of news happening a few weeks ago. But now if we go down to the daily time frame, now you can see the price action a bit more clear. So notice here previously, let's move over. Look how we had an uptrend and we had a bearish engulfing candle. We didn't quite get a retest near this area, but what we can do is take our Fibonacci retracement tool, and anytime you have an impulse, you want to see some type of retracement. So we actually got a retracement to the 38% fib level, and price continued to drop, came back, broke through it. So now, because the price has pushed above our previous daily highs, right? So this is where we wanted to see Okay, is the price going to continue to break lower? Are we going to continue shorting here? Well, if you shorted here, you probably would have gotten caught in a stop, right? Your stop loss probably would have been triggered because, as you can see, we had a bullish breakout here on the daily and price continued higher. So now look what's happening. So now we are in an uptrend on the daily, not an official trend, because we need to have multiple touches in both directions in order to have a valid trend. But we don't have that, okay? So, but what we can expect right now, looking at this with my naked eye, let me tell you the areas that I prefer to short. So I would prefer to short this daily resistance here, because look how much the market moved from this area. So this would be a strong level of resistance in my opinion. And because I know the price action is bullish right now, and on this daily time frame we have a double bottom, it broke the neckline of our double bottom. So now I'd like to see a retest or a flag or a correction, it's all the same thing, back into this level for a potential buy to the upside to complete that pattern. Okay, so that's what I'm predicting on CHFJPY right now. And notice the strong wick rejection here on the daily. That price came down and then it pushed up a little bit and it's still continuing to come down. So what we'd want to do is we'd want to prepare for our opportunity and we want to wait for it to get there. So I'm going to clone this resistance zone and I'm going to bring it down to this previous area of structure. Now, why am I placing my zone here? I'm placing my zone here because in order for us to buy, we want to buy, right? Because we see that the price action is bullish. But if we buy, we need the price to come back down to a level of structure where we can consider a buy. We want to buy from support. We don't want to sell at support. We want to buy from support. So if we see the price come here and it gives us an entry reason, for example, rejection within this zone, just like it rejected in the past, then we would consider a buy off of previous resistance, which we expect to become our support. So what I recommend is that you want to monitor CHFJPY right now for an opportunity right at along, I would set an alert right at about 144. I would say I'll set my alert at 144.16. So I'm going to do that right now. I'm on TradingView. So 144.16 and I'm going to put CJ long. And then what I'm going to do is wait for price action to come back to this area. Now, once the price gets to the area, you will need to enter based on your entry criteria that you use for your specific strategy. And what you're looking for is you're looking for these rejective areas where the price turned previously. So although you're getting an alert at 144.16, you know that price can turn anywhere within this zone just like it did last time. So when you are judging your entries, you always look at the turning points of what price did in the past, and that will give you an idea of where you should enter your trade. So if the price comes to here, 144.18 or so, we know that it can dip a little bit further into the zone, about 38 pips down or so, which is a strong turning point of where the price turned in the past. So moving forward, what I'm going to challenge you to do is to wait for an opportunity to go long, because you want to be trading with the overall daily movement of price action. So it's safer to buy if you have confirmation. You already see wick rejection here on the daily. That price doesn't want to go any higher. So what we're going to do is wait for price to come back down to this structure, this previous level of structure that was broken, and we're going to look for a buy opportunity. Now, if we do that, where should we place our stop loss? Okay, so that's going to be different for every trader. We have a specific approach we use for our students, but I'm going to go down to the lower time frame. So if you were to trade this 8-hour time frame, here would be your trend on the 8-hour, and this would be your execution area right within this zone. So you can either place your stop loss on the other side of the trend line and below the previous turning point. So remember, we know that price could come down and retest anywhere within that area, so we could drop it below that previous 8-hour candle and outside of the trend line. We can also use a moving average, something like the 50-period moving average, and if price crosses our 50-period moving average very aggressively, that can give us a signal to exit the trade. But if we see wick rejection right off of this area, just like we saw before when it was rejective resistance here, that would be good confirmation for us to consider a buy. So what I'd like you to do is watch for this pair to reverse in the target area that I mentioned. Replay this video if you need to watch it again. Mark your chart and just practice watching your analysis play out. This is how you're going to become become more confident in your setups. And more importantly, you need to have a set of rules that you're using every single time. So whatever your strategy is, you follow those consistent rules every single time, and then you must journal your outcomes in order to become confident in your setup. So I hope that you found this helpful. Make sure you subscribe and also turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss our next upload. And if you are a new or struggling trader, I encourage you to check out the description and learn more about our academy. We look forward to seeing you in the next training tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed this content.